Yo brodies, what's up? I know that you've been waiting for this for a long time now, so in today's video, we're going to check out the upcoming Rakk HANAN mechanical keyboard. The Rakk HANAN is a 75% gasket mount keyboard that features tri-mode connectivity, hot swappable switches, a dedicated volume knob, and a bunch of sound dampening material inside. In this video, I'll share with you the unboxing experience as well as the teardown process so that you can have an idea of what to expect should you choose to grab this budget, highly customizable keyboard once it becomes available. With that being said, let's get into it. Now, before we start, for my international viewers, you might want to skip this video for now as this keyboard will only be available here in the Philippines, although there's a chance you can find a similar OEM online. Alright, so as you can tell, the packaging features the latest design and black and yellow colorway of the brand with some key features and branding around the box and the specifications at the back. Upon opening the box, you'll see the extra top cover, the Rakk HANAN keyboard itself, the user manual, and a couple more items inside. So we have a wire switch and keycap puller, a braided USB Type-A to Type-C cable, and the user manual. I'll give you a chance to take a screenshot of it here if you're interested. Now, looking at the extra top cover, this one features a matte black finish and is made out of plastic. We also have a set of PBT die sub keycaps here that features the black and yellow colorway of the brand. This set can support up to 10 keyless layout. By the way, the Rakk HANAN will be available in bare bones kit only, bare bones with keycaps, and bare bones with keycaps and switches. I'll share the estimated prices later. Now, for this particular build, I'm going to use these lubed Aqua CS crystal switches that I used on a previous build. These are linear switches. Now, at first look and touch, the Rakk HANAN bare bones kit for a keyboard made mostly out of plastic has a good amount of weight to it of around 795 grams. It also doesn't flex much thanks to the steel plate inside, which is also where most of its weight comes from. As for the layout, it features a typical exploded 75% layout with some of the nav cluster keys here on the right side, dedicated arrow keys, function rows up top, and the alpha numeric keys. We also have a sort of badge or logo here that also doubles as LED indicators. Aside from that, we have a volume knob here made out of CNC aluminum. Now, looking at the front side, as you may have noticed, the top cover overlaps the bottom cover for an overall seamless look, and you'll get a better idea of that by flipping it on the side. The bottom case also features a slightly slanted shape that, when partnered with the flip-out stands, provides a more ergonomic typing experience. Now, looking at the back side, we have the USB Type-C port here, located slightly off-center, and directly underneath it, we have the cavity for the 2.4 GHz USB dongle. And here on the side, we have the printed Rakk logo. Turning it all over at the bottom, we have 4 rubber feet and 4 flip-out stands, 2 of which are shorter, and all of them have rubber tips as well. We also have here at the bottom the switch for the tri-mode connectivity, as well as a dedicated switch for Windows and macOS. By the way, the default top cover, if you haven't noticed, features a sort of gunmetal colorway compared to the matte black of the extra. Unfortunately, the PCB on this keyboard features north-facing sockets, so there will be interference on some switches when partnered with cherry profile keycaps. As for the stabilizers, I was informed that these are non-branded custom stabilizers, and as far as I can tell right now, these are unlubed. Like I said, we have a steel plate here confirmed by using a magnet. Alright, so with the unboxing and parts overview out of the way, let's tear this keyboard apart and see what it has to offer in terms of the gasket mount design and its sound dampening materials inside. Now, the teardown process is actually pretty easy. The chassis features a screwless design, which means the top cover is secured to the bottom case using plastic clips. After disassembling this keyboard a few times, I found an easy way how to do it. All you have to do is pry a couple of plastic clips around the corner, use a plastic pry tool like a guitar pick or something, and slide it in like so. Of course, don't forget to remove the volume knob so that you can easily lift the top cover off. If necessary, gently pull some parts of the top cover until all the remaining plastic clips are unclipped. So yeah, no need to pry all of the plastic clips individually, just pry a couple and slide the plastic pry tool around. Looking underneath the top cover, we have some silicone gaskets for a total of 8 gaskets. In theory, you can replace this with a softer porn gasket, but you'll have to purchase that separately from another source. We also have a translucent plastic diffuser here with foam in between. Now, after removing the top cover, you can now lift the PCB and plate combo. This is a wireless keyboard, which means there is a battery connected underneath, so be careful. Looking at the bottom case, we also have some silicone gaskets here for a total of 11 gaskets. We also have a bottom case foam here, and as per Rakk gears, this is made out of EVA foam. I'm not sure, but maybe this glossy plastic film is anti-static. Next, we have the 3000 mAh of battery right here. Now looking at the PCB and plate combo, this is definitely where most of the weight of the keyboard comes from. And looking at the back, the hot swap sockets are made by Kale and of course universal. The PCB will support both 3-pin and 5-pin switches. Removing the screws around that hold the PCB and plate together, we can now have a better look at the stock stabilizers, which are unlubed, giving users flexibility. This is ideal for a bare-bones kit like this. Usually, pre-lubed stabilizers are only ideal for pre-built keyboards that are ready to go out of the box. Aside from the bottom case foam, we also have a silicone dampener here in between the PCB and plate to reduce the hollow sound and reverb, and in a way provide a more cushioned feel. Although to be honest, this keyboard is quite stiff even with the gasket mount design, primarily because of the stiff steel plate. I actually asked Rakk Gears if they will offer other materials for the plate, but they have no plans yet. The good thing here is that there are a lot of third-party makers around the community like Hubquad and PMX.gg that we can tap. As expected, the USB Type-C port and the mode switches are integrated with the PCB, so just take that in mind when tearing this keyboard and building it back together. Also, when replacing the top cover with the extra cover, make sure to transfer the silicone gaskets and the LED diffuser as well. Don't be like me, don't be stupid. Well, at least now I know how to open this keyboard with my eyes closed, right? Now, all that is left is to install the switches and keycaps, which should be pretty self-explanatory. As for the Rakk Gears theme keycaps, they are made out of durable PBT plastic with dye-sublimated legends, which means it's essentially permanent and the keycap surface itself will not shine easily over time. The thickness is around 1.4mm, which is pretty decent in my opinion. These are cherry profile keycaps, which means unfortunately, we'll have some interference with the short pole Aqua CS crystal switches. I just realized that after filming, so what the hell. In the end, I decided to replace the top cover with the matte black variant as it matches the keycaps better than the gunmetal one. Alright, so before we move on to the other features and functionalities of this keyboard, here's a quick sound test for you guys. Now, as I've pointed out earlier, the Rakk HANAN features tri-mode connectivity with Bluetooth, 2.4 GHz, and wired mode. And as you can see here in the manual, you have keys Q, W, and E for Bluetooth mode. And for 2.4 GHz, which is ideal for low latency performance, all you have to do is plug in the 2.4 GHz USB dongle, change the switch at the bottom of the keyboard to 2.4 GHz, and you're pretty much good to go. I feel like tri-mode connectivity should be the new standard when it comes to mechanical keyboards, especially for pre-built ones. As we all know, more and more custom DIY mechanical keyboards are now adopting wireless technology, and it's just a matter of time before they finally add 2.4 GHz as a connectivity feature. Now, each Bluetooth device has its corresponding color indicator, which significantly reduces the guessing game. Even the 2.4 GHz has one with white color. The LED indicator also shows red or green when charging. You can refer to the user manual about the different key combinations when it comes to lighting effects to save time, but let me show you real quick the different lighting modes here. And here's how it looks in a very dim environment. As you can see, the LEDs are bright enough even though we're using a non-shine-through keycap. Now in terms of NKRO performance, I'm happy to report that NKRO works properly on all modes, including Bluetooth, so no issues when it comes to fast typists and applications that require multiple key inputs at the same time. I also didn't encounter any notable issues when it comes to wireless performance for both Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz, although as a rule of thumb, Bluetooth is for quick multi-device use, 2.4 GHz for low latency, and wired for competitive gaming. I was also able to confirm that the software works in all modes, even though Rakk gears advised that it only works in 2.4 GHz, so just put a little asterisk on that. As for the software, well, it's quite familiar. I think I've seen this from a different brand as well, which at this point is not surprising anymore. Inside the software, you can pretty much customize all the keys except the FN key to a different function like a different key, key combinations, macro recordings, media, and mouse functions. You can even customize some of the keys inside the secondary FN layer. You can also customize the lighting effects here and pretty basic stuff like modes, speed, and brightness. You get the idea. One important option here, however, that I think you might find useful is the ability to adjust the power saving modes. Of course, we also have macro recordings and the support page where you can update the app and the firmware. All in all, a useful software for those who need it, but unfortunately, and as expected, it doesn't support VIA, unlike the Rakk HANAN, which I'll be reviewing next. Now, if there are a few things that I didn't like about this keyboard, that would be the quite wobbly volume knob and the glaring generic OEM logo for the LED indicator. It would have been nice if they've managed to make it like the Rakk logo with the same 3 LEDs, right? But I also understand that they'll need to purchase a new mold for that, and that would bump the cost significantly, so yeah. Also, it would be nice if they also offer other materials for the plate and gaskets, since the stiff plate and silicone gaskets are both relatively stiff. But like I said earlier, we have decent third-party makers for that here in the Philippines. I also didn't like the sound and feel of the stock stabilizers, but I take that as an opportunity for customization and mods. And lastly, I hope they also offer other colors for the top cover, like what they've done with the Rakk Lam-Ang Pro. Overall, the Rakk HANAN proved to be a very competitive option in a sea full of similar-looking 75% keyboard out in the market. At the end of the day, it'll boil down to your personal preference on which one to pick. But let me tell you right now, for the price of just around 4,000 Philippine pesos for a complete build with keycaps and switches, it's hard not to include it in your options. It will also be available in bare bones only kit for only around 3,000 Philippine pesos, which is really affordable, and a good middle ground of 3,800 Philippine pesos for bare bones plus keycaps. These are rough numbers that were provided to me, and hopefully it checks out once it becomes available around next month, December 2022. And there you have it, guys. Thank you for watching. Huge thanks to Rakk Gears for allowing me to get the first dibs with this one. At least you now have an idea of what to expect, right? I'll update the link below and pin comment once this becomes available. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you appreciate this video and if you're interested in my review of the Rakk HANAN. Thank you and have a great day. You're awesome.